The tunnel entrance is obviously something that's going to become synonymous with TNA. And we even see tunnels being used on independents like 1FW, QT Marshall's independent in Georgia. And even AEW has a heel tunnel and a babyface tunnel. I like the tunnel, and I'm curious, do you remember anybody using the tunnel prior to TNA? I know there were a handful of WWE, like WrestleMania 13 comes to mind, but outside of that, as far as it being a regular thing, is that like a TNA idea, do you think?
That's the first time, as you said, kind of WrestleMania 13. Anyway, so I remember Greg Horn, our set designer. Man, we had some fun back in those days. But when we sat down to figure things out for Orlando and the space and how do you want to do this and think things through, and I looked at him and I said, Greg, we're about to get into a park crowd. And that didn't really register. I said, there's going to be some folks that this is just new talent. And even if they don't, so I said, I'd really like two separate entrances as far away as possible. He just kind of looked at me and he said, okay, we're going to have two go positions. And I said, well, that's what radios are for. We'll figure that out, but we'll have one go position, but we'll have two stage managers. He said, okay. So as we split it up, and he said, can you kind of give me your mindset? And I said, I'd really like to have the ability to do an in-ring and have a talent in the ring and then someone on one ramp and someone on another ramp to kind of spread it up. But when they're coming to battle, it's like two gladiators both coming down and meeting in the middle. And look, for a park crowd, let's make it real easy as we precondition the crowd. Hey, folks, coming out of this tunnel over here, make sure you boo them. Coming out of this tunnel over here, make sure you cheer them. To make it just a line right down the middle, to make it easier for non-wrestling fans to understand and get into it and get engaged in it. And look, it eat up a lot of square footage, but I really thought it gave a good vibe. I thought that once we got the jib camera, and it was a little difficult, again, going back to square footage, you could really do the right shot to show, we'll call it both ramps. You can't really show both tunnels, but it gave it a real good feel. That studio, Downstage 21, I wish it was about a third bigger than it is, because, man, you could have done even more. But, yeah, I thought that we maximized every square inch of this studio, and we ebbed and flowed on it through the years. But, yeah, so I like the tunnels. I like the ramps. I like the vibe of it and all. But, yeah, I didn't even think about what your comment was. But, yes, I'm a tunnel guy, Conrad.
Go watch this footage with us. We're watching Bound for Glory 2005 at myworldpod.com. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell while you're there. And if you just can't get enough of the old school TNA, hey man, do what I did. Go to watch.tnawrestling.com/sign up. We'll have the link in the description as well. But you'll get all the live specials, Impact every Thursday, Explosion on Fridays. You get the full content library and all that. Plus, you can even do an annual. So you can do it for just $9.99 a month, or you can do an annual and you even get some bonus stuff, which is pretty cool, including lots of live pay-per-views as well. Anyway, go check it out. TNAwrestling.com/sign up. That's TNAwrestling.com, where you can watch along with us and watch all the great stuff at TNA Plus. That's kind of the name of the game, don't you think? It feels like everybody is moving towards streaming on some level. You know, AEW's got their stuff now with HBO Max, and we know WWE's in a few different streaming services, whether it's Netflix or Peacock or what have you. It's sort of the way of the world. It's interesting. 20 years ago, you guys were flying high to finally be on cable television. And now it feels like the business is evolving again. Once upon a time, it was just local TV, and then it was syndicated, and then it was cable, and it's streaming. Like that's probably the next logical next step, right?
Oh, yeah. And you know what? I don't know how many times me and you, this subject has come up, but, in a lot of ways, we hit the holy grail, and we just talked about those numbers coming on, and we went from Saturday night successful ratings to Thursday night off prime successful ratings, and 1 hours of prime, 2 hours of prime, just kind of that growth. But us having to contend with those monthly pay-per-views, what if we wouldn't have been in that era where, from a business structure, and look, we made the decision, but we were a lot of times following the industry standard, Should we have done maybe 4 a year? Well, it didn't cost us that much more money. So we actually were profitable on these pay-per-views, but could our ratings have gone higher because we were, who was our master? Were we trying to get the highest ratings or the highest buy rate? Well, can't really serve two masters. But now as the industry goes, everything is going towards streaming. And so just I'm trying to lead in and agree with your point. Now it's all streaming for the most part. You can just kind of look at everything going that way. And Jesus, Conrad, we were sitting at the table the other night. It's a different era as the manager of the steakhouse comes by, and 4 of us at dinner, and I've got an iPad and a phone, and you've got a phone, and Dave's got a phone, and we're all watching some version of ball games, all streaming. It's a different era, man, completely.
My favorite thing about that, since we're just telling funny stories about dinner the other night, we managed to sit in the bar area where we knew we could get a TV going to watch Alabama, Tennessee. And you and I both have the AEW pay-per-view stream on our phones. Our buddy Dave is a big Mizzou guy, so he's watching Mizzou and Auburn. But as the guy brings over our food, he's putting everything down, and he's excited because he sees that you're watching wrestling, and he goes, "Oh man, I've been a huge wrestling fan my whole life. I just love wrestling. You like wrestling?" And you go, "Yep." And he goes, "Man, I just love watching this stuff." And I go, "Who are your favorites?" He goes, "Man, I like the guy with the sock." He had the sock. And I was like, "Mick Foley?" He goes, "Yeah." And somebody else. And in my head, I'm thinking, he has no idea that he just dropped food off to David Crockett and Jeff Jarrett. And nobody said anything and made a spectacle, but it was just funny because that guy, man, I'm such a big wrestling fan
of 90s.
Yes. I only watched in the 90s. I'm a big 90s wrestling fan, and I'm thinking, not that big.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, let me ask you about Gail Kim. She's out here as the second.
Yeah, sorry, I cut you off. We're thinking the same thing. Gail's integration into this. Anyway, go ahead. What were you going to ask?
She started with WWE in 02. She finishes up in 04. She's here with you guys in 05, but as a valet. Now, she was wrestling in WWE, and she is eventually going to wrestle for you guys. Was that just a function of you had to shore up more of a women's division for her?
Yeah, and she will tell you, we ought to have her one time, because she will tell you at every TV, "Can I wrestle? Can I get to wrestle? When are you bringing in more girls?" And it was a function of, and man, I can just remember it like yesterday, going into DVD or toys or any kind of pitch meeting that, hey, we have 4 distinct divisions: tags, heavyweights, X division, and women's, call it, just I'd go through all that kind of stuff. But at this point, we weren't quite there yet, because I said, "Gail, I don't want to come on the air with the division of 4 ladies. Let's take our time and really figure out." Later, obviously, it came to fruition, and we had, 8, 10, 12. And I think when we had, I can't say that magical number, but around 12 to 14 knockouts, I thought it was our best business, because you could still focus on almost all of them and ebbs and flows who's in main event. But at this point, I thought Gail was a really great addition to the package of AMW. It really cranked up their heat in a lot of ways. And with her athleticism and her hurricanranas off the top and different high spots, people knew, okay, we're dealing with a hell of an athlete right here. It really added to the package.
SaveWithConrad.com.
My name is Rajiv. I'm in Sacramento, California. I came to Save with Conrad because I've heard Conrad talk about how he helps people all the time save money and the best route to go for getting some mortgages and finances done. And having heard so many different testimonials in the past, it made the most sense to go this route. We were in the market for a new house, and we wanted to know what we could afford. So we spoke with Steve and then Diane to get through the pre-approval process to see what we could afford. And then once we were able to understand that aspect of it, that was when we were able to shop around for a house to get a mortgage through Save with Conrad. Everybody on the team was great. Everybody really explained everything fully to where it was more in like layman's terms, to where I could understand it as someone not in the business or having shopped around for houses too many times. So being able to understand every step of the process and talking with everyone on the team about that was really, really helpful. And it made me feel really confident that I was going the right route. I would definitely recommend Save with Conrad to others. I know that sometimes people look at it and they go, oh, they're based in Alabama. What could they help me with? But I'm out here in California, and they were able to square everything away and get things done really quickly, as opposed to sometimes even people out here don't move as quickly as the Save with Conrad team. So everything was really well done, really efficient, and I would definitely recommend Save with Conrad to others. My name is Rajiv. I'm in Sacramento, California, and I was able to get into my dream home with SaveWithConrad.com.
Well, that's number 212 non-equal housing lender. SaveWithConrad.com.